one fateful day, I actually ended up going to a middle school, and this is now how Seelio starts to form. I got invited to a middle school in Ann Arbor called Scarlet Middle School. Anyone ever hear of Scarlet Middle School? All right, maybe some of you went there. They have something called Portfolio Day there. And I was invited to be a professional in the area to come and listen to these students share about their passions, their interests, their accomplishments, and things like that. And what they end up having is they end up having these paper binders full of all their accomplishments and passions and interests and achievements, so on and so forth. Then I was listening to all of these students share their paper portfolios with me, and I'm saying, this is incredible. You are immensely gifted as a person, and unfortunately, a lot of this work that's in this portfolio right now is probably going to wind up in a shelf never to be seen again. And unfortunately for most people, and you've all gone through this, we will be evaluated for our entire lives based on some scores, a resume, a GPA that may or may not actually define who we are. And unfortunately, as a society, we often define people by these metrics and these numbers. They're important. They actually say something about you, but it's not the complete picture. And with that inspiration, with that heart, I decided, I think there's an opportunity here. A real opportunity to disrupt a current process through hopefully a digital innovation. And the next point here is the following, is that often ideas will only come to life if you act on them. And I remember coming home from this experience, and I was married at the time, and I was telling my wife about this opportunity, and I think there's something wrong with these current paper portfolios, and unfortunately, this entire valuation system is just really, really poor, because I was listening to these students, and they're so immensely gifted and talented, but unfortunately, a lot of that's just not going to translate into opportunities. And often in life, it's all about the opportunities, and I said, is there a way to be able to capture this stuff in a way that can revolutionize evaluation and opportunity? And so what we ended up doing, because I was part of the Center for Entrepreneurship, is customer development, right? Doug Neal, telling everyone, you got to go interview people. So what ended up happening is I went out with some people that I pitched around the idea, and let's go interview students about this. So we went up going up to all these high school students. We went to Detroit. We went to Top of the Park in Ann Arbor, because it was the summer at the time, trying to find students to interview them, asking them about their current application processes or the way they document things and portfolios and things like that. We ended up going to universities, because I wanted to understand a little bit more around how colleges evaluate students when they're coming in. And we discovered a ton of different things that I'm happy to share with you along the way. But we realized that it was not the right time to think about developing a portfolio platform, a digital portfolio platform for high school students to apply to colleges and things along those lines, primarily because there still exists this huge technology gap in the United States. And therein lies another problem, is that students in Detroit don't have access to technology tools, so they can't even possibly make a digital portfolio, versus students at Green Hills in Ann Arbor, they have access to all sorts of digital tools. So we might be fueling an inequity in evaluation by launching a tool in this market. There's some other things that we've ran into as well in terms of demand for something like this amongst college applications and things along those lines. So what we decided to do was pivot. Pivot to a new market. Think about, well, is there another opportunity that's going on here? And so what do we know? Our team is, and a number of us, we're based out of the University of Michigan. And so we ended up interviewing people here. We started interviewing lots of different people to understand, what do people do to present themselves professionally? What do they do with all the work that you've done as a student and things along those lines? And we ended up interviewing lots and lots of employers along the way. And we found that there was this trend towards no more resumes, right? That resumes are the thing of, they're so relevant, but they don't describe who someone is fully. In fact, most of your resumes in this room are kind of bare, because you don't have a lot of job experiences. So we ended up talking to some folks in recruiting at Facebook and all these different companies, and they said, we hate resumes because people list like the most crazy things and they're most irrelevant. I actually want to know more about some of your projects that you worked on. I want to know how you think. There's better ways to present yourself than through a bullet point. And often, everyone uses the exact same words on a resume. So they have no idea who someone is just by looking at a resume. So anyway, I decided to make a prototype. This is the earliest prototype of Seelio. I made it myself. I put it on PowerPoint. I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to prototype this and start showing it to people. So we didn't want to spend a lot of money at this time because it was still kind of in the idea phase. So I created this on a PowerPoint. And I started showing it to people. I'm like, start showing it to college students. I start showing it to employers. And again, I'm getting sent, what would you want in here? And I just put myself, a little bio, a little video, some of the works that I've done. And it was kind of interesting. And you know, I found some folks to help me. But one of the things is I couldn't execute on this by myself. And I was like, I think there's enough opportunity that we're hearing from the marketplace, from hearing from people, because a lot of students are saying, I want to present, I want to market myself, I want to find ways that the work that I've done to represent who I am.